The story begins with a mysterious man carrying a box of digital devices into an office building named Michael Rosk. The sultan of this company owner named Michael Rosk, who intends to invite his son Parker to lunch. But it seems that Parker doesn't really respond to his father's invitation politely. The mysterious man was seen activating the device he brought, while Rosk sat pensively holding a card that read point blank. While contacting someone named Alan to discuss his son's problems, suddenly Rosk fell under a fake elevator manipulated with a hologram display by the mysterious man. Next, we are introduced to the main character named Alex Rider and his best friend named Tom, who is still in school. Because Tom was caught carrying a cell phone into class, his cell phone was immediately confiscated and put in his teacher's desk drawer. After school hours ended, Tom asked Alex to retrieve his cell phone. This is where Alex began to show his skills, from climbing the school building to breaking into the door and break the locked drawer. Unfortunately, Alex's actions were caught by the teacher. Alex went home while being scolded by his uncle, Ian. In addition to being punished not to go out, Tom's cell phone is now confiscated by his uncle and put in the dashboard. It is unclear where his parents are, but since childhood Alex has been raised by Ian. Although Ian was considered very strict, he loved Alex very much. While his uncle worked at the bank, Alex was assisted by his nanny named Jack Starbright. During dinner, Ian saw the news of Michael Rosk's death, who was his client at the bank. It turns out that Alex had seen Parker's post last year when he spilled birthday cake on his own father's face. All Alex knew after that was that Parker had been sent to a training camp in France, as he had read in the comments. Later that night, Ian called someone named Martin, and he said that Parker had been sent to a special school for troubled children called Point Blank. As smart kids, Alex and Tom secretly went to their friend's party. Meanwhile, Ian went with his partner named Martin to a location to meet a Russian man who happened to be in London related to the Point Blank that Ian mentioned, just in case Ian and Martin carry a gun. Then, the Moscow man named Yazin appeared. Unexpectedly, Martin betrayed Ian by claiming to have been paid by Yazin, until finally Ian was killed by them. This was done so that Martin's betrayal of Ian wouldn't be revealed, and his hand was deliberately shot. Upon returning home, Alex was surprised to find many police officers at his house. Ian was said to have had a tragic accident due to overspeeding. That's why Alex couldn't see his body. Devastated by his uncle's death that Alex never expected, he sat at his office desk and looked at Point Blank's writing. On the other hand, here is Ian's superior named Alan Blunt, with two of his team named Mrs. Jones and John Crawley. They came to the crime scene to investigate Ian's death. Jones had mentioned the death of Alex's parents, now his uncle. Jones and Crawley came to see Alex, claiming to be from the bank where Ian worked. Alex didn't believe them because his uncle had never been speeding. Before they left, Alex mentioned Point Blank, the last word Ian mentioned before he left, which was also written on his desk. Interrogated by Alan, the traitor Martin admits to being called by Ian, because there was information about the Farna file, which was someone suspected of having carried out a cyber data attack. Alan was skeptical, as they had never used weapons. As a friend, Tom came to provide support to Alex, while Alex was contacting various hospitals that claimed not to have received his uncle's body. Alex remembered Tom's cell phone, which was still in the dashboard of his uncle's car. Using the Find My Phone app, Alex found the last location in an industrial area. Meanwhile, Alan listens back to the recording of the seconds before Rosk fell. Rosk's death seems to have something to do with Ian and a Moscow man named Grigory Serenkov, who died in a sailing accident. He also had a son. In fact, a card with the same inscription as Point Blank was found. And the person who managed to uncover this wasn't him, but Alex Rider. Alex and Tom arrive at the location where Tom's cell phone was last detected. Alex saw several officers conducting a crime scene. They want this area to be wiped clean like it's 1900. But Alex didn't see any of them wearing police attributes. Suddenly, one of them appeared and grabbed Alex. Not staying silent, Alex immediately hit him, and then he ran away from there to chase a car leaving the crime scene. Entering a building, the person who Alex following was Crawley. Finally, Alex was placed in the interrogation room under the supervision of Alan and 2 of his men. Alan even called this boy very clever, breaking the nose of one of their agents, and Alex could follow Crawley to the headquarters. Then revealed that Ian is actually a member of the Special Forces recruited into the British Spy Agency, a special subdivision of the British Intelligence Agency. That means that Ian is the executioner. Ian himself is the best field agent in the department. Alex now knows his uncle didn't die. It was an accident. And because Alex is considered to have the potential to become a member, Alex is offered a job to gather information about the case. However, Alex firmly refuses the offer. That is because they are considered the cause of his uncle's death. Back at home, an immigration officer suddenly arrives to deport Jack, accused of having a fake visa. At the same time, child protection officers arrive to take Alex away, as there are no adults in the house to care for him. This is where Alex realizes this is part of Alan's game to force him to join. Finally, Alex agreed to accept his offer. And just like that, the men leave. Alex was taken by Alan to become a British spy agent. Now Alex begins to understand that Parker was taken to a special school for point blank, but after graduating from there, his father was killed in an absurd way. Likewise, Ian almost got important information from Rosk regarding the school. Apart from Rosk, there was Sirinkov, who had a son named Stephen, who was also admitted to the point blank campus. The death of their parents is a big question mark. What exactly was being taught inside point blank? Because the only ones who can get into point blank are troubled teenagers. Therefore, Alex was deemed fit for this task to ascertain whether the school was implementing a normal curriculum or not. Since Ian is one of the victims connected to this case, they must hunt down the mastermind. Back home, Alex doesn't want to tell Jack or his best friend Tom about his assignment. Tom, who was pretentious, said that Alex's uncle was killed by the money laundering mafia. On the other hand, according to ballistics tests, the bullet that shot Ian came from a K59mm. Is this related to the North Korean defector Ian had handled? But Jones thinks this is too conspicuous, as if leading them to this conclusion. Then to organize Alex's cover, Alan met a businessman named David. An officer named Daniel from the counseling service came to the school to meet Alex. But suddenly, he claimed to already know Ian didn't die in an accident and Alex was assigned something by Alan. Suddenly, Daniel said he was from the State Department. Because he felt something was wrong, Alex asked Daniel to show his ID card. Daniel has long been investigating the intelligence department led by Alan. Because of the violation of the law, the State Department planned to shut down their activities forever. So he asked if Alan had asked him to work as a spy agent. Alex didn't want to answer at all, even though Daniel warned him that his job was clearly illegal and very dangerous. Alex was hesitant to report Daniel to Alan. Alan revealed his meeting with David. Their plan was to pass Alex off as David's troubled son. Although David now had a daughter with a bad temper who could be a nuisance to his plans. Alan was confident that David's daughter wouldn't be an obstacle, and Jones was tasked with handled everything to do. Coming home from school, Alex is suddenly hit by a van and kidnapped by the perpetrator to be placed in a secret location. A man forced him to tell the truth about who his uncle worked for. Alex, who's still calm, replied that Ian worked at the bank, but the man didn't believe him. Then he asked what point blank was. Alex replied that it was a place where you could shoot someone at close range. What he meant was a shooting game. Alex was then interrogated again, because he already knew that Ian worked for the British government as a spy agent. However, this man didn't believe him and started psychologically torturing him with very bright lights and loud music. Alex didn't give up and kept silent while singing from the music performed on him. Since Alex didn't come home, Jack called Tom to ask for his email password, and when he saw the video on his laptop, Jack felt something was wrong. On the other hand, this man threatens to hurt Jack, who has been working for his uncle since 6 years ago, or his best friend Tom will suffer the consequences. But Alex didn't give up and kept silent. Jack contacted Jones because he believed she was a spy. Jack threatened to inform Jones' actions to the entire law firm if Mrs. Jones didn't tell him where Alex was. On the other hand, Alex was then subjected to further psychological torture with a water splash. When the tap was turned off, Alex suddenly disappeared. It turned out that Alex showed his skill to open the handcuffs on his hands. Alex tried to escape from the location until a car passed in front of him. It turned out that Daniel came. He is a part of the kidnappers who wanted to catch Alex again. Alex dares to shoot him, because he believes this is just part of the assignment to test his abilities. Not long after, Jones arrived. It turned out that Daniel's real name was Smither, part of the British intelligence team that was testing Alex. Alex was then taken away. They believed that Alex had been trained to survive introgation, and the one who gave him the training was Ian. Back at home, Jack treated Alex's wounds. Alex told him everything, and the task he had to do was to find the mastermind of Ian's murder. On the other hand, when looking back at the footage of Rosk's death, the intelligence team discovered the use of holograms to deceive victims. The technology used for the crime is very sophisticated. Yazin went back to see Martin to make sure their crime was kept clean. Martin made sure the intelligence team considered Ian's death to be the work of South Korea. Mrs. Jones revealed the plan to disguise Alex Rider as Alex Friend, the son of a billionaire named David Friend and his wife Lady Caroline. Therefore, Alex will stay with them. Then, the scene moves to the point-blank location in the snowy mountains of France. Dr. Grief has been reminded by a woman named Eva about Serenkov's death, and now Rosk's death is attracting public attention. The movie continues into Episode 3. The intelligence team finally gets the location of the point-blank campus, which is in the middle of nowhere. Eva turns out to be the principal who wants to meet with Alex. Long story short, Mrs. Jones came to Alex's house to start carrying out her plan. Before that, Alex asked for Tom's cell phone, which was taken by the intelligence team, to be returned. Alex has memorized his new identity as the son of Sultan David Friend. The first step Alex took was to change his appearance, and Tom was disappointed because Alex began to keep his distance and keep something secret from him. A music player has been specially designed as a messenger for the intelligence team during Alex's mission as a spy. Jones then drove Alex to David's luxurious home. They were welcomed by David and introduced to his wife, Caroline, until Eva came to see him. Alex, who first disguised himself as David's son, was placed in a luxury room. Meanwhile, Alan and his team are still investigating Ian's death. Until now, they are still skeptical about Martin's confession, which blames North Korea. Therefore, Crawley was assigned to continue the investigation. That day, David invited Alex to practice target shooting. David had told Alex not to trust Alan too much because he would always use him. And as it turned out, Alex had a good skill in shot. At the same time, David's only daughter, Fiona, returns from her vacation. She confesses that she broke up with her boyfriend, Ravi. David tells her about Alex's disguise at their house, but Fiona doesn't seem to like her father's actions. On the other hand, curious about what happened to his best friend, Tom asks Jack for an explanation. For the first time, Alex met Fiona at the swimming pool. Over dinner, Fiona told him that her father had been in trouble with the law for fraud. Meanwhile, Fiona herself claimed to have been arrested for a drug case. Suddenly, Tom came in disguised as a pizza delivery man to meet Alex. Finally, Alex told Tom everything. Although he was disappointed, Tom supported Alex and his steps, hoping that his mission would be completed quickly. On the way home, Tom was hit by a car by Ravi, who came to see Fiona. Fiona's boyfriend came with two of his friends. They invited Alex to take a walk on the plantation tomorrow morning. Arriving in the forest, it turns out that Alex is taunted by Fiona and her friends as a shooting target. Alex ran to hide among the trees, and when they were fooled, it was Alex's turn to teach them a lesson. Meanwhile, Jones and her team had prepared themselves in one of the rooms awaiting Eva's arrival. Not long after, the point-blank principal came to David's house to meet Alex. In order to smooth out his disguise, Alex acted like the son of a sultan who refused to be rehabilitated. Eva herself said that while Alex was at point-blank, David and his wife couldn't contact Alex until the process was complete. He will be in total isolation to focus. Suddenly, Fiona returned home full of emotions that could have blown Alex's cover. Fortunately, one of the agents disguised as a maid immediately dealt with it, and finally Alex was taken by Eva to the Point Blank campus in the snowy mountains of France. Dr. Grief was seen at the window, watching Alex come. Then, the story continues into episode 4. Arriving on campus, the cell phone and vodka drink disguised as mouthwash were confiscated. Fortunately, the music player, which is actually a communication tool, is allowed to be carried by Alex. Entering a location in London, Martin secretly contacted Yazin using a cell phone he hid in a locker. When taken to class, Alex was introduced to a teacher named Dr. Baxter. It turns out that there are only 5 students on this campus. They are the beautiful Sasa, then Aras, Laura, James, and finally Kira, who looks ignored. Martin returned to see Yazin to make sure his colleagues in intelligence believed that Ian was killed by the North Koreans. He even says the investigation has been stopped and the school is safe. However, Yazin thinks this will be a problem. As a place for troubled teenagers, James admitted that he was placed in this school because he shot his father's ass with an air rifle. James has been at the school for 2 months, while Laura has been there for 3 months. During their stay, they claimed that they never went upstairs because it was forbidden. Dr. Baxter once said that before this place became a school, they used to store dangerous chemicals. Obviously, as a spy agent, Alex was very curious. Physical tests were conducted on Alex to confirm his health condition. Although Alex was skeptical, as the doctor was discussing the use of anesthetic drugs. Among the students, only Sasa and Ares showed strange behavior, because they were always together with the same style and attitude. When Alex and Kira wanted to wash the dishes, Alex wondered what the guard would do if they made noise with his music player. Hearing the loud music, Eva came into the kitchen. Since Kira wasn't involved, she was allowed to go to her room. Meanwhile, Alex meets Dr. Grief for the first time. The owner of Point Blank gave Alex a stern warning for his actions in the kitchen. Eva even slapped him because Alex didn't respond well to Dr. Grief's warning. Back in the room, Alex felt that someone was watching him from upstairs. Alex wants to send a message to Martin using his music player, but there is no connection at all. Jack meets Jones because until now she has no news about Alex. Jones told her to calm down because Alex was doing his job. Regarding the seconds of Ian's death, Alex's nanny, Jack Starbright, said she had heard Ian call about someone in Moscow. At that moment, Jones discussed the information she got with Alan and Crawley. Now they believe Ian's death has nothing to do with North Korea, but with the Russian side, between Serakov or Ross, to pursue Point Blank. Therefore, Ian contacted Martin Wilby, but Martin instead ordered someone to kill Ian. Will not be arrested first. Alan wants Martin to be kept under surveillance so that they can uncover the mastermind behind all this. Students this time got a psychological lesson from Dr. Grief, and it seems to indoctrinate students with negative thinking. After the lesson, James confesses to Alex his parents' occupation as arms dealers, from pistols to fighter jets and destructive drones. Again, they notice the strange behavior of Sasa and Aras, who are so stiff while playing ping pong. The intelligence team installed surveillance devices when Martin left his apartment, and it turns out that Yazing himself already knows that Martin is starting to make Indanger his mission. Apparently, Martin came to see Jack claiming to be Ian's partner. Jack thought Martin knew about Alex's mission at Point Blank, and it was here that Martin known that his headquarters had assigned Alex to be a spy. Unfortunately, Jones was too late to tell Jack. Martin immediately left with a picture of Alex. Just then, the team is assigned to arrest Martin. Sasa started flirting with Alex while they were watching a movie. Her coquettish attitude makes Alex uncomfortable and strange. Back to the cell phone placement. Martin is surprised by Yazing's appearance. Considered a danger, Martin is eliminated. A photo of Alex in his pocket was taken. Alex suddenly became unconscious while brushing his teeth. Alex was taken to a special room by the school's medical team. The movie continues to episode 5. Waking up from sleep, Alex felt there was no change in him. But without him realizing it, his activities in the room continued to be watched. While the students are having breakfast, Laura changes her attitude, who now joins Sasa and Uras. Meanwhile, the intelligence team is investigating Martin's death, which is believed to have been committed by a party related to Point Blank. On the other hand, Yazin begins to trace the figure of Alex armed with the information obtained from Martin to reveal what this school is really doing. Alex, assisted by James and Kira, who are experts in hacking, will infiltrate Dr. Grief's office. When he came to the school, Yazin accidentally saw Tom, who was Alex's friend, from the photo. On the other hand, a search of Martin's crypto account. The team found a balance that reached £700,000. In addition, there is a certain number code that is thought to be a secret phone number. The pencil powder will be used by Alex to get the access code to Dr. Grief's office. The powder was attached to the code button, while Alex was in action. James distracted the campus owner. After Dr. Grief entered, Alex saw the 3-digit number 189 that he pressed repeatedly. The problem is there are 10,000 possible combinations of these numbers that they have to deduce. Remembering Dr. Grief's talks about Hitler's history that he once mentioned, finally Alex deduced the code 1889 as Hitler's birth year to unlock the door. Meanwhile, the intelligence team called the number they got from Martin's account. They were told to mention their identity. Even though he had mentioned Martin's name, access was still denied, and the number was immediately unreachable. The team believes the organization they are dealing with is not an arbitrary group. Meanwhile, Yazin got a video of Tom coming to David's house as a pizza delivery man. However, he was suspicious because Tom was there for 49 minutes. Contacted by headquarters, Yazin is assigned to update everyone's security protocols. And it turned out that one of them was Dr. Grief, who had to change his security protocol code. After Grief and Eva enter the basement, Alex and Kira begin to infiltrate his office, while James is in charge of watching from the outside. After hacking into his computer, Alex asks Kira to access Ian Ryder's name, but it turns out that Ian Ryder's name is not in the system. Alex himself didn't want to answer Kira's questions about Ian. Kira plans to leak this location. However, because the technology used was military-specific, she failed to do so. Grief and Eva had just had a serious talk with Dr. Baxter. Noticing their appearance, James was forced to distract himself by turning up the music loud enough for Alex and Kira to hear. After his father's death, Parker inherited the Ross Corporation business empire. Alan plans to see him as he believes he has a problem. Suddenly, Yazin was already in Grief's office to give him the new protocol code. He also shows a picture of Alex that he got from Martin's hand. From their conversation, it can be concluded that Grief hired Yazin and his organization as professional assassins. Before leaving, Yazin had crossed paths with Alex. Here, Alex didn't know that Yazin was actually the one who had killed his uncle. If Alex had known, he would have immediately retaliated. Alan finally met Parker. He claimed to be a close friend of his father who had contacted him regarding Point Blank. Seeing the response of Parker and his bodyguards, Alan could conclude that something was wrong. Therefore, his team was assigned to stake them out. James planned to leave the campus in search of a phone that he could use to contact the authorities. Meanwhile, Alex and Kira would remain inside the campus to distract the officers. Unfortunately, James' plan failed, after being caught by Eva, who immediately took him. Seeing this incident, Alex immediately entered Eva's office, but didn't find their whereabouts. Alan and his men discussed Parker and his known bodyguard named Langham. He is an ex-army man who was dishonorably discharged and was later detected joining Eva at the school. Alex believes there is a secret passage inside Eva's office, so he must investigate it to find out James' whereabouts. During bedtime, Alex uses a coin to prop open the door to his room so he can sneak in at night. Surprisingly, Alex found the exact same room as his. Then there is a CCTV monitor that shows the original room. It turned out that they had been studying the habits and behavior of each student. Inside James' fake room, Alex found a mask, exactly like the person he had seen before. Suddenly, they witnessed Dr. Grief and Eva finishing off Dr. Baxter, which has not been revealed for what reason. And after that, the story continues to episode 6. In the morning during recess, now strange behavior is shown by James, who joins Sasa, Aras, and Laura. Kira leaves, not understanding what exactly happened to them. Meanwhile, Greef and Eva begin to investigate Alex's origins, due to information provided by Yazine. They plan to assign Parker to investigate. Kira asks Alex to be honest and trust her, telling her who Ian Ryder is. When he wanted to enter the school, suddenly Tom was asked him come to Rosk's office because he was interested in his talent in making movies. Before entering, Tom took a selfie behind Parker's grand office. After class, Eva asks Kira to come to her office. Not wanting to be the next victim, Kira and Alex both have a plan. Alex secretly infiltrated the medical room. He had seen a file labeled Project Gemini. In his computer, data related to the student's DNA was also found. Tom was welcomed by Langham to be found with Parker. Instead of talking about the movie, Parker asked about Alex. Realizing they are not good people, Tom is forbidden to leave until he tells everything. Eva assigned Laura, Sasa, and Aras to look for Kira, whose whereabouts were unknown. It turns out that Kira could escape from the campus. After searching the room, Alex finds a holding cell where Laura, James, and other students are being blocked. It was revealed that Dr. Greef and his minions were cloning the students. The original Parker was even found in this cell. Alex was incredulous when he saw them all, because Tom didn't want to open his mouth. Parker and Langham threatened to cut off one of his fingers. However, it turned out that they just wanted to see the contents of his cell phone. A short video of Alex Ryder was immediately sent by Parker to Greef. At that moment, security protocols were activated to caught Alex and Kira dead or alive. Unfortunately, Alex was caught first by Greef and Eva before escaping. The school suddenly contacted Jack to find Tom's location, and Jack happened to see Tom's last status right in Rosk's office. At that moment, Jack contacted Tom, but his cell phone was already held by Parker. Meanwhile, the intelligence team was in front of Rosk's office watching Parker's movements. Taken down to a special room, Alex was immediately drugged by Eva. Troops from Point Blank were deployed in the mountains to search for Kira. Their activities are detected from the satellites used by the intelligence team. At the same time, Jones gets a call from Jack regarding Tom's disappearance. It turns out that Greef used a special drug to get Alex to tell his true identity. Although under the effect of the drug, Alex tried to hold back so that his true identity as a spy agent would not leak out. Suspecting that Kira had escaped back to her parents, Greef again contacted a team of hitmen to kill Kira's parents in Singapore. He was Andriy Fasenko and his wife Nuo Chal. But it turns out that Kira deliberately outwitted the criminals with a false trail. In fact, he is still on campus. Kira freed Alex from this room. When Parker wanted to hurt Tom, the intelligence team immediately grabbed him. Meanwhile, Langham is being followed by Yazine. Greef and Eva just realized that Alex had escaped. To find help, Alex plans to escape using an ironing table that he designed into a skateboard. Jones asked the Special Forces to immediately launch to the Point Blank campus because Alex's cover had been blown. The chase was on for Alex, who was detected fleeing down the mountain. While skating, Alex tried to avoid the bullets that fired by these criminals. After hiding behind the trees, Alex finally arrived at a highway. But suddenly a snowplow car accidentally hit him, and after that the movie continues to episode 7. It is unclear what Alex's fate will be after the ambulance comes to take her. Eva's men report that Alex is most likely dead, so she goes to the hospital to make sure. Eva saw the team of doctors trying to use a cardiac pacemaker, but eventually Alex was pronounced dead. Kira was shocked when she heard over the radio that Alex had died, but suddenly Alex woke up again. It turned out that all this was part of the intelligence team's plan to fake Alex's death, because Alex was considered no longer a problem. Greef and his henchmen are just hunting Kira, whose position are unknown. This doctor also ordered to kill the real students and focus on carrying out the plan by deploying cloned students that Greef called as his children. Not far from the Point Blank campus, the intelligence team built a base to invade the school. Alex is no choice to join this mission, because the students there are his friends too. Meanwhile, at the main headquarters, Smithers revealed information about Parker that they caught wasn't the real Parker, after DNA checks were carried out on his parents. In addition, Smithers found a synthesized enzyme cocktail for metabolic enhancers needed to accelerate the healing of operations performed repeatedly. Wolf's Special Forces team arrived at the base. Alex was disappointed with them for kidnapping and torturing him. After Alan contacted them, it was revealed that Dr. Grief was a cloning expert scientist on the run for 20 years. According to Alex, the human clones that Grief made did look like the students, but their brains and minds are exactly like the doctor. The goal is to control all the wealth and influence of the parents of the students he killed. Even though the original students were threatened, Alan told Jones and the team on the ground to hold off before the raid. However, Alex insisted their time was limited before Grief killed the students first. The interrogation was carried out by Alan and his team, even though the voice recording is needed to contact Grief so that he believes Alex Rider is working without any party. Meanwhile, Alex contacted Kira with a radio call. Finally, Alex and the team of troops began to act to save the Sultan's children. Sniper shots began to be fired to eliminate the criminals guarding outside. Once safe, Alex and the team infiltrated the campus. Not long after, a shootout ensued. Realizing their crime had been exposed, Eva asked Dr. Grief to escape immediately. But before that, they must first destroy all the evidence in his computer. On the other hand, Grief asked that only one child be held as hostage and the rest be eliminated. One by one, Grief's security team was eliminated by special forces. Suddenly, Kira appeared to invite Alex down to the basement, but it turns out that he is a clone who tricked Alex so that Eva could take down him. The team could caught the fake Kira, while Alex continues to be beaten by Eva. Grief couldn't move anymore because Wolf had already caught him. On the other hand, a fire broke out in the research room. When Eva wanted to give Alex an injection, there was an explosion. The team found Eva's body, while Alex survived despite a head wound. Crawley got the scolding from Alan because the operation was done without his consent. All surviving victims and suspects were secured. This was the first time the real students and cloned students came face to face. Since a storm was coming, the Special Forces team immediately took them all away from point blank, including Alex, who was given aluminum foil by Wolf so as not to freeze. Long story short, Jones drove Alex back to his house to be greeted by Jack and Tom. Alan interrogated Grief to tell him the identity of the group of hitmen who had killed the student's parents, including his agent Ian Ryder. However, Grief just silent and even threatens because they are very dangerous. Back to Point Blank, which has no one people at all, but suddenly Alex appears there. On Dr. Grief's desk was a photo of him and Tom. In addition, Alex found his passport. Alex walked until she found the highway. Then, he'd taken down the car owner so he could go home. On the other hand, Alex, who was at home, showed a strange attitude. No respect for Tom, even though he is his loyal friend. Jones received information from Singapore that Kira's parents had been murdered. Receiving this sad news, Kira, who was at home, couldn't hold her sadness. Kira realized this was her mistake because Grief thought she had fled to Singapore. Kira immediately hugged Crawley. Now the intelligence team's next important task is to dismantle the Hitman's organization. Crawley just realized his safe house access card had been stolen by Kira when he hugged her. At that moment, Jones ordered Morris to find Kira. Apparently, Kira came to school to meet Alex. Meanwhile, the second Alex has arrived at his house. Kira said goodbye to Alex to return to Singapore, even though her parents were gone. Before leaving, she gave him a coin that had been used to block the door in the campus room. Alex kept the coin in his locker. The intelligence team handed over Grief to a special unit for transfer to another base. Alex showed a strange behavior again in front of Tom, who seemed to be planning to kill him. Right at the red light, the car carrying Grief suddenly broke down. It turned out that the culprit was Yazin, who appeared to finish them off with poison gas, and Grief finally died. The real Alex felt strange because Tom was suddenly angry with him. Alan was immediately angry after knowing that Grief had been killed, even though this doctor is the only clue to uncover the mastermind of Ian's death. The real Alex returns to Jones, because until now he has not found his uncle's killer. Here, Alex reveals the figure of the campus visitor who had met him with the characteristics of the scars on his face. Strangely, she seems to recognize him. Jones always shows her pictures of Yasin when he was young. The intelligence team had thought he was dead, but Jones couldn't reveal his track record as it was classified. The team was shocked that Alex looked so much like him. Coming to a club, fake Alex took Tom to a quiet room. Here, fake Alex again plans to kill Tom. The team discovers that Grief has made a clone of Alex. They rushed off to arrest him. At the same time, the real Alex gets a video recording of Tom's torture. Alex immediately goes to save him. The clone threatened to kill each and every one of Alex's loved ones. The two got into a fight inside the club and continued until outside. Not long after, the intelligence team arrived. They have difficulty distinguishing between the real Alex and the cloned one, until Tom appeared to hit one of them. When he was about to be taken away, fake Alex grabbed a gun. Before he shot, it turned out that Yasin had first killed him from the roof. Long story short, Alex returns to his house, hanging out with Tom and Jack. Alan and Crawley agreed to keep Yasin's identity a secret from Alex so that Alex could live a normal life. With this situation, the series ended. Alex Rider Season 2 begins with Alex Rider is shown seeing a psychologue, because in his mind, he always remembers Yasin Gregorovich. Although Yasin is called a villain, Alex actually feels no fear because there is not the slightest threat to him, a strange feeling like there is a mental bond. This is what has always haunted him. The teenager who was once recruited as a spy agent returned to normal life. Jack Starbright herself is now an intern at a law firm after completing her law studies. After returning home from school, Alex felt that he was being followed by someone with a gun. He had time to hide, but apparently his vision was wrong. Alex reveals to Jack and Tom Harris about everything that comes to his mind. The three of them decided to take a vacation and camp at the beach. When he wanted jogging in the morning, Alex again saw a suspicious man. Unfortunately, Alex first hit a man who was with his daughter named Sabina. Because the file was scattered, Alex tried to pick it up again. Who exactly is this man? Back in the tent, Alex invites Tom to go surfing. Unexpectedly, Alex meets Sabina, again who has the same hobby, and because Sabina rents a luxury hotel near the beach. The next day, Alex visits. It turns out that Sabina's father is a journalist who is busy with his article. Due to internet problems, Sabina's father calls a technician. Alex is surprised again, because the man who fixes the internet network is like Yasin, the man who has been haunting him. When Alex and Sabina are walking to the beach, suddenly the hotel where Sabina and her father are staying explodes. Alex immediately ran to borrow Sabina's scarf, then broke into the hotel. Alex came out carrying Sabina's burned father. Alex explained that the man with the scar on his face was disguised as an internet officer to plant explosives. However, the results of the police investigation, this explosion was due to leaking gas. Because the police didn't believe him, they accused Alex instead. In the end, Alex told them to contact the intelligence team. However, the banker's business card that Mrs. Jones had given him couldn't be contacted. On his way back home, Alex managed to save Sabina's father's life, but to make sure what he actually saw was real Yasin or not, he decided to contact Mrs. Jones again. After returning home, Alex went to the intelligence headquarters, but he found no one there. Alex stares intently at the CCTV camera, and his actions are noticed by Alan Blunt, but Alan didn't want to tell John. And after that, the story continues into episode 2. A cyber attack occurred at the American Military Defense Headquarters, to be precise the Pentagon, 6 months earlier. Unmitigated, the perpetrator hacked the Nuclear Launch Command System. 5 seconds before the nuke was launched, the commander requested that the power grid be shut down immediately. He then enlists the help of the CIA's new deputy director, Joe Brine, to uncover the culprit. Not Russia or China, the perpetrator was detected from London. To make a long story short, today Bryan invites Alan and Jones to come to her office, exposing the cyber attack that took place in the Pentagon operations room 6 months ago. If it is too late, the nuclear launch order will be activated. After an investigation, the CIA discovered the digital track of a hacker calling himself Smoking Mirror. 3 months earlier, this hacker had a meeting with Sabina's father, Ed, after he read Ed's article in a newspaper. Ed asked Smoking Mirror why they assigned him to attack the Pentagon. However, the hacker didn't want to reveal more, as they were very dangerous, and Ed could have been the target. Alex gets information from Sabina that her father is in a coma and is currently hospitalized in a private hospital in London. His feelings said that Ed is still their target, so he will come to visit. The smoking mirror is seen in front of the hospital where Ed is being treated. After Alex saw Ed's condition, he conveyed to Sabina his concern that her father's life was still at risk. His guess is that this has something to do with the book his father is writing, about the feathered serpent or Damien Cray. Or there is another story that Sabina doesn't know, so that Sabina is not threatened. Back in the room, Alex saw someone about to enter. Alex chasing the smoking mirror, but he could escape. Meanwhile, Smithers tried to uncover the hacker through his digital track. He felt he had seen something like this elsewhere, but Smithers forgot, and therefore it takes time to investigate. To get back in touch with the intelligence team, Alex went back to see David Friend. Although David didn't know where Alan lived, he could tell him of a club where they had met. Meanwhile, the intelligence team focused on a leftist political activist named Haroon, who had stolen classified data and posted it on the web. He was imprisoned 4 years ago and was released just 6 months ago.
With his urgency, Smithers believed they could find out where to get the classified data from. As the digital track was considered to be an exact match, Smithers was sure that Haroon had hired the smoking mirror. Still on his bike, Alex invites Tom to look for Alan's whereabouts at the club mentioned by David. Alan was seen meeting with CIA officials at this location. Long story short, the team has arrested Haroon for interrogation. After being threatened with being sent to Guantanamo, Haroon admitted to paying a hacker named Simon Marriott to get his secret data. Bryan said the American president would be coming to London in a week when Damien Cray and others held a charity dinner. Millions of dollars were donated by Cray in charity campaigns, and millions more to the president's anti-drug initiatives. Alan himself tells Bryan that the identity of the hacker who attacked the Pentagon is in his pocket. As Alan leaves in his car, Alex immediately follows him armed with his GoPro camera. Apparently, the intelligence team is staking out Simon Aka's smoking mirror near his house. Alan happened to be heading to the same location to monitor Simon's arrest. An agent was sent under the guise of an electrician. Simon, who was suspicious, immediately turned off all the computers in his house. Not wanting to waste time, the Special Forces team broke into the lock of the door. It turned out that Simon had already escaped. Entering his house, John Crawley found the secret passage Simon used to escape. Simon ran away immediately after Alex caught him. Unfortunately, it was Alex who was caught by the Special Forces team. Meanwhile, Simon escaped, then remotely blew up all his computers. Long story short, Jones took Alex to the new headquarters of the British intelligence team. Alex revealed about the attack on Ed by Yassin. Without going into details, Jones tells Alex that Yassin works for an international crime organization. The organization provides professional political assassination services exclusively to a small fraction of the world's elite. But Alex's request to investigate Yassin was met with little response by Alan, who said he was in Myanmar. Alex was very disappointed and chose to investigate on his own. And then the story continues into episode 3. The scene moves to Amsterdam. The launch of an online game called Feathered Serpent will take place in the next 8 days. And here is the owner, a billionaire named Damien Cray, who is the deputy director of the CIA, said that donating millions of dollars to the fight against drugs. Damien Cray's assistant, Charlie Ropers, was assigned to invite the best gamers in the world. That's because Damien Cray wants his game launch to take the world by storm. Bryan again urges the British intelligence team to catch the smoking mirror or Simon before the American president arrives in London. The CIA doesn't want any further attacks that could jeopardize the president. In addition, he asked about the boy who had been caught by them, but Alan didn't want to reveal Alex's identity to her. Although there is no connection with the disaster that befell Sabina's father, Alex, who feels called, still insists on investigating it. After the hacker's escape, Smithers were made difficult to hunt him down. That's because all the data on Simon's computer has been destroyed. There is no trace at all. Not wanting to hear any excuses, Jones urged him to get clues as soon as possible. Simon was seen coming to a location on his motorcycle. A woman who owns a rental house bought a key to Simon, but Simon asked that his presence here be kept secret. Apparently, in one of the rooms there is a hacker headquarters. Tom shows GoPro footage of Alex being caught by the intelligence team. Afterwards, Alex meets Sabina again to see her house, which he believes has been infiltrated by someone looking for her father's belongings. While looking back at his GoPro footage, Tom accidentally sees the license plate number of Simon's motorcycle. Elsewhere, Damien Cray is being interviewed about his latest game launch by the London media. For the next 7 days, he will be in London, England. He says every penny from the sale of his game will be used to help the fight against drugs. Still don't know what the connection is, but it seems that Simon is listening carefully to every sentence uttered by Damien Cray. He reasoned that this was motivated by his big brother who was addicted to drugs, which took his life. Are Cray's words factual, or is there a big conspiracy behind them? When Alex and Sabina access her father's computer to look for clues about the smoking mirror figure, apparently their actions are known by Simon. He activated the computer camera without Alex's know. Alex is convinced that this has something to do with Damien Cray, who has disappeared, either burned or stolen, and it could be deleted. Right away, Simon did a digital search to get all the information about Alex. Tom showed Alex the license plate of the Smoking Mirror's motorcycle. Tom immediately traced this valuable information, but he didn't ask Jones for help, but through Smiders. Damien Cray's men showed him a critical story written by Ed, and now widely circulated on the web. Smithers told Jones and the other agents that Simon owned a motorcycle. Based with this information, tracing the location of the hacker would be easy, but Smithers doesn't want to tell Jones this information he got from Alex. Back home, Alex suddenly gets a delivery of 10 packages of pizza that he never ordered. Not only that, suddenly Jack, Alex, and Tom's cell phones rang simultaneously, followed by other devices connected to the internet. This is where Alex realized this was all done by Simon. Alex said he wanted to help Smoking Mirror act as Simon from them, because he knew about Damien Cray, even though in fact Alex doesn't know anything about Damien Cray. When going to class, Simon suddenly contacted him to meet at a location. After destroying his cell phone SIM card, Simon left the hacker headquarters. When he passed an intersection, his motorcycle was detected by a CCTV camera, which was immediately read by Smithers. Unexpectedly, Yasin appeared at the hacker headquarters to hunt down Simon. This woman and Simon's friends were mercilessly eliminated by this professional killer. From his cell phone, Simon saw Alex enter the meeting location. He himself first installed sensors at the entrance. The intelligence team is trying to hunt down Simon. Simon thought Alex knew about Damien Cray's crimes from Ed's writings. In fact, it was just Alex's bluff so that Simon would meet him. Suddenly, someone entered there. Alex was already hiding, but Simon was first scooped up by Yasin, who immediately killed him. Realizing someone else was there, Yasin opened fire again. Alex immediately ran away, but continued to be hunted by Yasin. Yasin only stopped shooting after realizing the person he was chasing was Alex. Not long after, the intelligence team examined Simon's body. Unable to find the culprit, the big question is who Damien Cray really is. And after that, the story continues into episode 4. Alan had another meeting with Brian. Although the Smoking Mirror was no longer a threat to the American government, the hacker's killing was a sign of a big conspiracy. Because the hacker was killed by international criminals, it could make bigger problems. The intelligence team conducted a crime scene at the hacker's headquarters, which was ransacked by Yasin. Eventually, Jones found the small hidden camera. Although the Smoking Mirror is dead, Alex now knows Damien Cray is a dangerous billionaire. Damien Cray again assigned Charlie to bring in Case 7, the world's best gamer who he needed to boost the launch of his latest game. Alex returns to Sabina to tell her that her father wants to be killed by Damien Cray, which has something to do with the book being written by Ed, Sabina's father. However, Sabina turns hateful to Alex after saying she was once a spy agent who helped intelligence. Alex's good intentions to help Sabina and her father have been misinterpreted. Alex returned home disappointed. The intelligence team discusses the third party that appeared before Simon was killed. He managed to escape murder, but his identity has not been revealed. Only Smithers suspects this person is Alex. Damien Cray insisted on telling Evelyn Anders to bring in 7. If the gamer was indeed good and had the potential to bring down this game of their creation, Damien planned to make 7 fail to win it. Alex went back to Smithers to ask for information about Damien Cray. As a billionaire who is close to the President of America, he doubts Damien as a big-time criminal. In contrast to Alex, who is very sure that Damien Cray is a criminal who covers it up with charity work, but Smithers still shows people involved with his organization. Suddenly, Alex seemed to recognize one of Damien's staff named Charlie, who Alex saw in the picture with Ed. What is the relationship between the two? This is what Alex will investigate. Wasting no time, Alex went straight to Charlie, claiming to be Ed's friend. Smithers asked the team to investigate Damian Cray for being on the Scorpia radar. In fact, he got this information again from Alex. Smithers is worried that his crime plan has something to do with the arrival of the American president this week. Charlie didn't believe his boss was involved in Ed's attack. The proof is that the smoking mirror was killed right in front of Alex after he mentioned the evil Damian Cray. It turns out that Charlie and Ed were friends in college. Charlie told Ed all about Damian Cray, but this is all just about his obsession with his latest game. For months, Damian Cray has been harassing the programmers. Alex asked what was wrong with the game. Is it stealing his secret data, or is it sending subliminal messages to his brain? What is Damian Cray's purpose in killing people? To answer all this, Alex needed a copy of the latest version of the game before anyone else was victimized again. Charlie couldn't give him one. However, Damian will give a copy of his latest game to the winner of his game competition. If Alex was willing, Charlie would sign him up as a participant, posing as K7. Finally, Smithers confessed to Jones that he got the information about Damian from Alex. Although Alex is not good at playing games, it just so happens that his best friend is very good. And because of that, Alex asked to be taught, even though the time was very short. At that moment, Alex registered his account in the game as K7. It turns out that Alex's action was known by K7, whose face figure has not yet been revealed. Long story short, Alex came to the location of the match, which was attended by all the best gamers in the world. Damian asked Alex, who was disguised as K7, about this second version of the game. Not wanting his cover blown, Alex challenged Damian to play right away to get the prize. Not an ordinary online game, apparently this game has been designed so that players can feel the effects of the game directly. So when the player takes a hit or a shot, his body will feel pain. Long story short, Alex was set up in a circle. Although he was hit by enemy fire at the start, Alex quickly got back up to overcome his opponent. Damian Cray began to get annoyed because Alex was able to overcome his enemies. Therefore, he told Evelyn to raise the difficulty level. This billionaire didn't care even though it could endanger Alex's life. The important thing was that Alex failed to win this game. Although his level continued to be raised, Alex was very adept at finishing off his enemies. Alex was finally unable to because Damian played cunningly, chesting by showing a monster figure. Not losing his mind, Alex pulled out a metal stand to destroy the server computer, then stole the prize. Alex escaped from the location even though he had to deal with Damian's men. Incidentally, Alex got help from the original K7, who directed a way out for him via WhatsApp message. After escaping, it turns out that the K7 figure is Kara. Before leaving, Damian Cray was surprised by the appearance of Yasin. As Alex previously suspected, it turns out that it was Damian who paid Yasin to finish off Ed and Simon to hide his crimes. But Damian wasn't satisfied because he wanted Yasin to kill this boy who had ruined his game launch event. Yasin was surprised that the boy he had to finish off was Alex. Yasin made sure this boy wouldn't be a problem for him. And after that, the story continued into episode 5. Back home, Damian Cray is greeted by his employee named Sean Palmer. In this house, Damian remembers when he was a child, seeing his brother Joe die from a drug overdose. Back to Alex, who has managed to get a copy of Damian Cray's latest game. It is unclear what this game has to do with, until the billionaire kills Ed and Damian using the services of an international hitman. Meanwhile, the British intelligence team and the CIA team discuss a potential attack that could threaten the American president, because it's not just a nuclear launch system that they want, but the president's schedule. However, Brian doubts the American president will cancel his visit. Moreover, this is just a suspicion. The deputy director of the CIA showed CCTV footage when Alex left the location where the body was found. As a schoolboy, the practice of sending Alex into the field as an intelligence agent was illegal. But this operation was no small matter, as it had the potential to threaten the security of the American president. Alan couldn't avoid it and felt that he had missed it because he had emphasized that Alex was no longer his agent. Evelyn reveals the figure of the boy who disguised himself as K7, with the help of an insider to steal the second version of the game. Damian Cray wants Evelyn to find out the traitor. Charlie comes to the hospital to meet Sabina to talk about Alex, who's trying to uncover the perpetrator of her father's attack. From the copy of the second version of the game that Alex stole, Kira was asked to study it because Alex believed there was something hidden in it. But Kira hasn't found anything yet, just the usual war games, monsters, and Aztec tribes. It takes a sophisticated computer to unlock the encryption code. Yasin already knew Alex was getting more and more involved in this game. With hundreds of gigabytes of encrypted data, 20 to 30 computers were needed to make the process much faster. Alex had a plan to use the school lab computers, Long story short, Alex and his two friends infiltrated the school as expert hackers. Kira's part was next. While waiting for the encryption process to be carried out, Alex tells about the figure of Yasin who always appears in his mind. Suddenly, Tom told them that their actions were discovered. Apparently, the intelligence team came there allegedly because they were tracking the cell phone Alex was carrying. John came to pick up Alex because Alan wanted to meet him. Arriving at the headquarters, the inspection process was carried out first before meeting the intelligence chief. Jones gave something to Alex. Alex had insinuated Alan, who suddenly called him, even though he himself said Alex was no longer his agent. Pressed about who Yasin really was, Alan didn't deny that he had killed Iron Rider, Alex's uncle. Alan only told him that Yasin was part of an international crime organization called Scorpia. But Alan reiterated to Alex to stay away from the Damien Cray case because Alan had to protect him. In fact, Scorpia was targeting the American president. But Alan doesn't believe that Damien Cray is behind it. Damien and the American president are friends because Damien contributes to political campaigns and both fight against drugs. Alex still believed there was something Damien Cray was hiding through his game. Even though Alex hasn't gotten the proof yet, Alan warns Alex to stay away. However, Alex is not the one who gives up so easily. Damien Cray is asked to meet with the deputy director of the CIA because of threats against him. He was surprised when Evelyn showed him the CCTV footage when Charlie met Sabina. This is where Damien Cray finds out that his men have betrayed him. While Damien assigned Yasin to kill him, Brian and Jones come to see Damien about the threats against him and the American president, so they propose to cancel his planned dinner and charity event. Damien Cray recounts the tragic story of his brother who died from drugs. Since then, he has been determined to campaign against drugs. Therefore, Damien firmly refused to cancel his event. After the scam was completed, Kara found something strange in this game application, but everything was still locked with a very sophisticated code. Even with the most advanced computer in the world, the process could take 6 trillion times the age of the universe. The only way to unlock it was to return to the original server in Kraystar Amsterdam. But Alex couldn't go ahead with this mission as Alan had warned him not to get involved. It turns out that the boy genius's chatter was overheard by an intelligence team that was listening in on them. Alex decides to put a stop to all this and returns to school. This is where Alan feels relieved because Alex will certainly not interfere again. But Smithers and Jones didn't believe that Alex would just give up. Therefore, they came to the school lab. Apparently, Alex pretended to cancel from this mission because he knew he was being bugged, even though Alex wrote the next plan related to someone named Juliet. It turns out that Alex already knew the intelligence team had installed several listening devices in his shoes, watch, and clothes. Some of the tracking devices were put in different envelopes. Before going to Amsterdam, Alex told Jack to investigate Damien Cray's crimes. Alex and the team deliberately distributed envelopes containing the tracking device to their friends, so that Alan and the intelligence team were fooled by Alex's true position. Even though Alex and his two friends were actually leaving for Amsterdam. And after that, the story continues into episode 6. Alex and his two best friends arrive in Amsterdam. They settled into an apartment before going into action to infiltrate Damien's game research facility. Damien Cray won't take action against Charlie just yet, even though Evelyn had shown evidence of his betrayal. Alex and the team devised their plan, based with photos of Damien's facility, which was strangely not protected by walls or barbed wire. The CIA and British intelligence team focus on ensuring the American president's safety for the event. Alan asked Brian not to underestimate Scorpia, as the international crime organization has incredible resources, reach, and determination. John Den Jones arrives at Damien's home to ensure the safety of Damien himself and the American president. As head of security for the house, Sean assured them everything was under control. Damien admits that he will be traveling to Amsterdam for a short time to do final checks before the launch of his software, which will coincide with a dinner with the president and the world's elite. Tom and Kira arrive at his research center checkpoint, pretending to be lost. At the same time, a car arrives to enter. Meanwhile, Alex was alone in the moat not far from the checkpoint. When throwing sand, it turns out that the security system of the fence uses infrared rays. Sean confessed to John as a former SAS Special Forces officer before becoming Damien's head of security. Damien Cray went back to see Yasin because he didn't want the intelligence service to interfere with his plans. Yasin made sure Alan and his team would be Scorpia's business. As of now, it is unknown what Damien's evil plan will be. Tom shows the GoPro camera that he hid under his jacket when he came to the post. Damien talks to Charlie now that he knows his men have reconnected with Ed. Damien wants Charlie to believe that he is a clean man, as people have assumed all along. From the GoPro footage, Alex and the team have the opportunity to infiltrate, having been informed the truck would be back in this afternoon. While buying 3 cell phones with cash so as not to be detected by the intelligence team, Kira secretly stole a credit card scanner. The phones were shared with Alex and Tom, and after that, they went into action. As the truck wanted to pull in, Tom pretended to fall off his bike. When the driver got off, Alex acted to transfer the access card. Meanwhile, Kira opened the truck's door. Eventually, Alex and Kira managed to get into the research center. Meanwhile, Jack and her partner were tasked with checking files for the acquisition of Damien's rehabilitation center. Opening the box inside this location, Alex wondered why there were hazmat suits and gas masks to prevent chemical spills. This location was supposed to be a game research center. After the alarm sounded, he immediately left this location with a hacked access card. Meanwhile, Yasin began preparing himself with a new identity named Thomas and asked for a fee of £6.5 million to kill the American president. Smithers struggles to get evidence of Damien's evil plan because everything is clean. Alex sees Evelyn talking to the programmer who works at this place. They will go inside Damien's office to look for evidence of his crimes. Brian expresses her concerns about Alan to Jones. Apparently, a few months ago, Alan already knew that Scorpio was active again, but he didn't tell the CIA. Suddenly, Smithers got a clue after successfully entering. Alex and Kira found a flight plan with Air Force One. Does Damien want to kill the president, or is there a much bigger conspiracy? Smithers finds evidence of the activities of someone who recently made a £6.5 million payment, which has something to do with Scorpio. That person was Thomas, who was located not far from Damien's house. It is he who is suspected of being the villain who wants to eliminate the president. Entering the server room, Kira hacked into Evelyn's account to get her game access code, but she needed at least 20 minutes. Ambushing Thomas' house, a special forces team failed to catch him, but they find a firearm and a passport. Tom immediately alerted Alex as he saw a car enter the game research center, which he suspected was just a cover business. It turns out to be Damien Cray himself, and because of that, Alex and Kira leave with his laptop. Damien finally confesses to Charlie that he paid people to kill the smoking mirror and put Ed in a coma in the hospital. John arrests Scene with the passport evidence he found. Is this part of Yasin's plan to distract the intelligence team? Not wanting to get involved with his boss's evil plan, Charlie decides to leave. Alex and Kira come out of hiding because Damien wants to kill Charlie, but still Alex fails to prevent it. Will Alex be the next victim? The story continues into episode 7. Alex is now in the clutches of Damien Cray, who already knows Alex has deceived him by claiming to be 7. Kira was interrogated by Evelyn, who served as Damien's chief programmer. Damien Cray forced Alex to tell him who was involved, until he dared to break into his research center. If Alex refuses, the billionaire will not hesitate to kill his friend. The intelligence team had caught Scene, who was suspected of targeting the American president. Damien's security chief was carrying a gun and aconite liquid to poison the heart, which couldn't be traced. But the CIA felt something was wrong because the Scorpio didn't work like this, because his arrestment was too easy. When John interrogates him, Scene asks back what is Scorpio. Likewise with John, who suspected that he had been framed by them. Because Tom was worried about Alex's safety, he contacted Jack for help. Jack happened to be in Damien's company. Tom asked Jack to infiltrate Evelyn's office, the head programmer. After successfully entering, Jack found Evelyn's laptop. Jack deliberately used her laptop to send an email notification through her official account that the launch of the latest game was cancelled. This was done so that Damien and his minions were provoked. Evelyn again shows footage of Alex meeting with Sabina. Damien doesn't yet know that Alex is a former agent who was once recruited by the British intelligence team. Suddenly, the news of the cancellation of his giant launch was widespread. Damien, who was furious, warned Evelyn because this information leak came from her account, which I had believed couldn't be hacked. Inevitably, Damien had to hold a press conference regarding this attack. This was done to ensure that the launch of his latest game would still be held on time. Kira manages to get the job done. At the same time, Alex finds a canister filled with the exact liquid the team found when arresting Scene, which contains a heart-stopping poison. Despite not knowing what it was, Alex took it with him. Evelyn just realized that her game code had been stolen. So did Damien, who lost his vial of liquid. While Alex and Kira are trying to get out of this base, Damien prepares a secret weapon connected to a special glove to hunt Alex down. Damien's evil nature is shown again here. It turns out that he launched a shooting drum that was controlled directly by him online. Realizing they were being targeted, Alex and Kira immediately ran away. A series of shots were fired by this drone. To get away, Alex and Kira went into the forest, but it turned out that Damien was using an infrared sensor. The drone continued to chase them, even though they had entered the forest. So Alex and Kira kept running until they entered a greenhouse garden, while continuing to be shot at by the drone. They finally met up with Tom. Then they both went into the closed garden. The chase continued. The chase almost got Alex and his two friends shot. An iron pipe thrown by Alex managed to take down this drone. Failing with his hand, Damien immediately contacted Scorpia. Did he ask Alex to be killed, or was there another order? It turns out that Yasin disguised himself as a doctor to bring Sabina. Meanwhile, the Air Force One plane carrying the American president lands in London. Jones is contacted by Alex, who asks to meet because he has important information. Alex shows the full encrypted version of Damien's latest game that will be launched tonight. Alex is convinced this is no ordinary game, but there is something in it that Damien is hiding in his evil plan. The billionaire had also killed Charlie, the head of PR, right in front of them. Scorpia was the organization that aided his evil plan. Jones believed all their stories. The game was given to Smithers to investigate, and Kara will come along to help him. Jack himself was called by her superiors after her colleagues reported Jack's suspicious actions in Damien's company. But whatever the reason, Jack was still fired from her job. Damien suddenly contacted Alex asking for the stolen Liquid 2 to be returned. Alex refused, but he was surprised to see that Sabina had been kidnapped. And after that, the story continues into episode 8. Going to the location specified by Damien, Alex was first greeted by Yasin to search him first and take his cell phone and too. Here Yasin didn't avoid killing Ian, Alex's uncle, because he was wrong to trust the people he worked with. It turns out that this location has been infested with mercenaries. Damien claims this canister contains the fingerprints of the American president. Despite getting what he needs, Damien will still kill Alex and Sabina. Yasin disagrees, as they are more useful alive as hostages, especially Alex, who works for British intelligence. Eventually, they were both locked up. As experts, Kara and Smithers attempted to solve Damien's hidden plans within his game. The intelligence team was worried after Damien's location were unknown, even though the president has arrived at the event location. After Sabina is taken away, Alex attempts to break free. Meanwhile, Damien and all of his mercenaries began to move. Alex managed to climb onto a truck brought by Damien Cray's team. Jones finally told Brian that Damien was planning an attack on the president. Alan immediately took Jones away because he didn't trust Jones, and neither did Alex. Because the safety of the American president is far more important, the deputy director of the CIA immediately notifies the Secret Service. Coming to Alex's house, Tom found nothing but his cell phone lying around. But the envelope containing one of his SIM cards was missing. Arriving at a location, a drone is launched from a truck, which the ground tower detects as an airplane. Here, Damien pretends to be a pilot, asking for the runway to be clear because his plane, which is carrying dangerous chemical gas, has a leak. From Kira's investigation, it is suspected that when the game launches, all gamers in the world will be connected. And this is what Damien uses to create the supercomputer needed for his evil plan. Tom tells Kira that Alex is missing. Therefore, he needs her help. The Cornerstone contacts a special security team for gas leaks, even though the team that was sent down was still Damien's henchmen. Sabina was also taken by Damien on his evil mission. Arriving on the runaway, Damien and Yasin immediately finish off the presidential guards who guarding Air Force One, the presidential airplane. Entering the control room, Evelyn went to work. It turns out that Alex is disguised using a hazmat suit and gas mask. Kira and Smithers felt they had failed because the game launch had begun. Unmitigated, in seconds, 200 million players have connected. With his supercomputer power, Damien can hack into anything on the planet he wants. Starting from communications satellites, even the Pentagon was outpaced. Tracking Alex's position, Kira and the Smithers now realize Damien did his hacking inside Air Force One. Alex manages to free Sabina, but he wants to know what Damien's plan really is. Meanwhile, the rest of the intelligence team realizes the threat to the president is just a distraction, as Damien needs Air Force One to launch the nuke. Pentagon headquarters is surprised by a communication contact from the president, who is actually Damien disguising his face with special technology. The general is tasked with launching a nuke due to a communications satellite attack, but he asks for the authorization code first. Kira deliberately makes a scene to get Yasin out of the control room. Alex takes this opportunity to go upstairs to prevent the nuke launch. As Alex struggles with Damien, his gun fires a bullet that hits Yasin. Meanwhile, Sabina fights Evelyn to help Alex. Damien managed to take control of the situation and want to kill Alex, but Yasin shot Damien first. Yasin claimed to be a friend of Alex's father. Therefore, he will not kill him. If Alex wants to know about who his father is, Alex must find Scorpia. Then Alex asks the Pentagon general to cancel his nuclear launch, which could cause a third world war. Alex showed proof that his orders were fake, and finally the nuclear launch was cancelled. Not long after, the British security forces arrived. Surprisingly, Alex did not see Yasin. Again, the British intelligence team was outpaced by Alex, who managed to prevent a nuclear war. Alan was very confident that he had succeeded because the CIA and America were satisfied. In fact, this success was Alex's hard work. Back at home, Jones apologizes to Alex as well as providing official documents declaring Jack as Alex's legal guardian recognized by the state. To celebrate this, Alex is asked where he would like to vacation. Here, he remembers Yasin's words to find Scorpia if Alex wants to know his true identity. And after that, the series season 2 story ended.